Very early on, when I began learning sign language, I came to realize that it's not just a language, but it comes with a culture, deaf culture, and that's true for any language. No language exists just by itself. There's always going to be a community attached to it and a culture attached to it by those who speak it. And it's the same with sign languages. So there's a very important distinction made between the word deaf with a lowercase d and the word deaf with an uppercase d. So lowercase d, deaf, refers really to the condition of not being able to hear or having a hearing impairment. So it's a very physical, scientific word, whereas the word deaf with a capital D refers to the deaf community or deaf culture, and it's a very proud community and culture, and that capital D is to distinguish it from just the condition of a hearing impairment. And the deaf community is very much linked with sign language and the use of it. So in order to properly learn to speak a sign language or to sign, it's very important to learn about the culture behind it and the community behind it. So I'll be doing a few videos about the interesting things I've learned about deaf culture and deaf community. It's a wonderful part of learning sign language to become involved in the deaf community and get to know the world of the people who use sign language. One of the most interesting things I first discovered was about sign names. So, people's names in sign language can be finger spelled. So, using the hands and the alphabet, you can spell someone's name out. But as you can imagine, this can get tiresome after a while, especially people with long names, Elizabeth or something like that. Would take a little while to fingerspell. So there's sort of a sign language equivalent of nicknames where you're given a sign that's representative of you as a person. So instead of having to sign Elizabeth every time, you would do a single sign which is your sign name. What's really interesting about sign names is that there's a cultural tradition where someone cannot create their own sign name, and the sign name must be created by someone who is deaf. A hearing person learning sign language can't give another person a sign name or make up their own. So there's something kind of special about receiving a sign name or having a sign name. And even someone who is born deaf, it can be a very long time before they acquire a sign name. Sometimes they'll be in their 20s or even later, and then they'll be given a sign name. The sign names are chosen in a really interesting way too. It will be usually based off something that makes that person unique. So it might be a personality trait or a physical trait. So if someone has curly hair or someone's always laughing, these are things that could become sign names. Sometimes they're based off one incident in that person's life, often something embarrassing that really made them stand out. So some people get stuck with sign names that they wish they had a different sign name, but it's a really fun part of the culture, and the community is quite small. So these sign names, people have heard of others before actually meeting them, and you get quite well known by that name. So that's some of the culture I really enjoy. I won't show you any sign names in particular, so as not to, call attention to anyone in particular. But yeah, they're really fun, and I wanted to let you know about them. Eric Winter asked if I had a sign name yet, and I don't. And I'm quite comfortable with that. I think it will come in time if necessary, but I'm quite happy with a finger-spelled name as well because of how I know that some sign names are not ones you'd want. They're also, they're really only used to refer to people who aren't present in the room, because if you're signing about someone in the room, you just point to them to use them in a sentence or something. So really, it can take a while before people discover their own sign names anyway, because it's only really used to talk about them.